Government saying it will continue to support poor students. The Higher Education Department says it will find the money from its budget. But make no mistake, the economy is taking serious strain. Let's explore the implications. Reporter Michael Marilia tracking those numbers for us. Hi there, Michael. So the state pumped 35 billion rand into the student financial aid scheme last year. That is a massive amount. On the flip side, though, you have to wonder, can we afford not to invest in higher education?
Yes, Ellie, and in fact it was 20 billion rand in 2018, so a massive jump over 2 years. And the question, as to whether we can afford not to invest in higher education, historically our education system has been defined by class. It really has been defined by the amount of money that you have, and that really has shaped your future in terms of entering university and entering the job market. So how do we take the class out of the classroom? It would seem we have to keep investing in our universities and our students in one way or another. Otherwise, we'll go back to the way things were. I'm going to take a look, Sally, at some numbers from 2017. This was before the no-fee policy came into effect. And what you're seeing here, Sally, are the quintiles, what they call quintiles, in terms of young South Africans and in terms of income. And what's fascinating about this, Sally, is that the richest 20%, those who came from the richest 20% of households, accounted for nearly 50% of all the graduates from our universities. The poorest 20% of households produced just 8% of the graduates in this country. The only quintile that comes close to being representative was quintile 3, which is somewhere in the middle. But certainly a massive disparity, Sally, when you look at the richest 20% and compare it with the poorest 20%. And if we focus, Sally, on postgrads as well, you get a very similar picture. Let's bring up those numbers there. Red, of course, the richest 20% producing 36% of the postgrads. The poorest 20%, again, not being representative at all, just 10% of the total postgrads coming out of our universities. So you have to wonder, Sally, if we didn't have the system in place, would we not be taking a step backwards and ending up where we were in 2017?
And I mean, it's quite an interesting stat that you've shown us there, that it's one thing to provide a poor student with the fees, but if the environment is not there to support them, as the more well-off students have, they can get those extra classes, they have a home that is comfortable, that probably has Wi-Fi all the time, those students are still at a disadvantage. So that's a big issue that still has to be addressed. Where are we in terms of race? Where do we stand there?
Yeah. So that has been a big problem, again, historically, Sally, and we have made some progress over the last 20 years or so. If we take a look at those numbers, around about 75% of all students at university are black African students. So that is encouraging. But at the same time, Sally, we have a pretty low participation rate amongst this particular group. So roughly 5% of South Africans 18 to 29 years old are actually involved in higher education. 5% compared to roughly 12 to 15% of white South Africans. So there is a big disparity still in terms of race, and that is concerning. But Sally, let's finish on a somewhat encouraging note. I want to focus on the number of graduates that we've produced in this country. I'm going back to 2016, and I'm going to compare that to 2000, so a gap of 15 years. Back at the beginning of the century, Sally, we were producing 93,000 graduates from our universities and our universities of technology. Fast forward 16 years, Sally, and that had more than doubled, 203,000 graduates. So we have been able to ramp things up. You have to wonder, though, Sally, do we have the money and the resources to do that this time around? Certainly, the economy is putting some constraints on our ability to transform the system.
Yeah, absolutely, Michael, and that really is the big challenge. Of course, the other challenge is once you have your qualification, will you get a job? It would be very interesting to compare the job success rate of university graduates compared to those who go to a training college where they get specific skills such as how to be an electrician or a plumber. It's certainly something we have to keep drilling into. Thank you so much. That's Michael Marilia there.